had to respond. I'm deeply saddened by recent false accusations made against me by Gene Traylor, someone I don't know and have never met. Let me be clear, statements are untrue and extremely hurtful. I'm here to compete, play basketball at the highest level, and win for my team of fans, while inspiring other women that they can do anything they ever dream of becoming. I hold myself to the highest integrity, and my values are what guide me on and off the court. In media reporting this, I've always spoken the truth and been transparent with any press inquiry. In this instance, it feels irresponsible that I was never asked for comment before the accusation for several clickbait stories went to print. I will not let this untrue gossip take my focus away from what is important to me, which is basketball, my supportive team, and my fans.
Here's what really happened. Someone filed a lawsuit against a Phoenix Mercury employee. Within that lawsuit, as supporting evidence, they claim this employee deliberately tried to undermine the organization. Part of this alleged sabotage involved spreading false information that Sophie Cunningham was romantically involved with the Suns CEO.
The Fever fans towards Sophie Cunningham, because she's getting a lot of love right now, considering these allegations and really heinous allegations. Let's just keep it real. Sophie Cunningham joins the Suns in denouncing untrue and extremely hurtful claim in lawsuit that CEO Josh Bartelstein had an affair with the ex-Mercury player. And as you can imagine, on social media, I saw a lot of the Indiana Fever haters.
The person being sued started this false story, and the lawsuit explicitly identifies it as misinformation. I've repeated this multiple times. It's documented in black and white that this was fabricated gossip, yet people deliberately extracted just the portion mentioning the rumor itself, removing all context about it being lies, and presented it as established truth. They ignored everything explaining it was baseless speculation created by someone now facing legal consequences for workplace disruption.
Yeah, but just like everything in this situation, there are two things we know. There is selective. You can. It is not protect. It is not no place for hate. You cannot say no place for hate. There has to be an asterisk. There has to be an asterisk, and the asterisk has to be unless it's a Fever player. Unless it's a Fever player, then it's fine to hate on them. But only if you're a rival fan. If you are a Fever fan.
This forced Sophie Cunningham to make a public statement. I'm deeply hurt by recent false claims made by Gene Traylor, someone unknown to me who I've never encountered. Let me state clearly, these allegations are false and deeply damaging. I'm here to compete at basketball's elite level and succeed for my team and supporters while showing other women they can achieve any dream. I maintain the highest standards of character, guided by my principles both during games and in daily life. Regarding media coverage, I've always been honest and available for any press questions. In this case, it seems irresponsible that no one sought my perspective before publishing these accusations in multiple sensationalized articles. I won't allow this false gossip to distract from what matters most: basketball, my supportive teammates, and my fans.
Coming out, doing the whole, is this why she was traded from the Phoenix Mercury? Yada, yada, yada. It got real ugly on social media. I did not make a video on that. If she hadn't made a statement.
But just like everything else in this situation, there are clear double standards at play. You cannot claim no place for hate without adding conditions. There needs to be fine print, and that fine print reads, except when targeting Fever players. Then hatred becomes acceptable, but only from opposing fans. If you're a Fever supporter, or if people think you're connected to them, like with the Natasha Harris incident, then suddenly it's problematic.
Or sorry, not even it's okay to hate on them. If people believe it's a Fever fan, just like a Natasha Harris situation, then it's bad. Nothing matters. And people are like, oh, okay, what is Caitlin Clark? Caitlin Clark can stop this. The only way Caitlin Clark can stop this, I'm not joking, is by... The only way Caitlin Clark can stop this whole thing is by...
People ask, what about Caitlin Clark? Can't she fix this? The only solution for Caitlin Clark to end this madness would be retiring from professional basketball, relocating to the South Pole, and permanently disconnecting from all technology. Plus Connor McCaffrey, her entire family, all Indiana Fever teammates, Sophie Cunningham too, everyone moving to Antarctica and going completely offline forever. That's literally the only way this harassment would stop, because that's what this is, harassment.
I probably would not have made a video on this. Sophie Cunningham has joined the Phoenix Mercury in the Phoenix Suns in denouncing a claim that CEO Josh Bartelstein had an affair with the former Mercury player. The Suns issued their denial in a statement from communications executive Stacy Mitch on Tuesday in response to a lawsuit filed by former Suns security director Gene Traylor.
For those unfamiliar with these events, the legal case speaks for itself. Someone took a fragment from court documents, misrepresented what those documents actually said. The original excerpt clearly showed this was referenced as misinformation, but these individuals, the same ones who previously promoted the false claim about Angel Reese hearing specific slurs that the WNBA investigated, deliberately spread lies. The league will investigate social media rumors. A Twitter rumor emerged, and while I'm not claiming nothing occurred in the audience, I wasn't present. The specific allegations that triggered the investigation were fabricated. Those same people then spread completely false information about Sophie Cunningham so extensively that it became accepted as reality.
Retiring from the WNBA, moving to Antarctica, and never turning on her phone again. And also Connor McCaffrey and her entire family and all the Indiana Fever players moved to Antarctica, Sophie Cunningham as well, and never turn on their phone again. That's the only way to stop this, because it's bullying. It is. It is bullying. And by the way, if you guys don't know about these things, the lawsuit is the lawsuit. The lawsuit's there. Somebody, again, and somebody...
We've seen this pattern before. Lies about Fever fans making particular sounds at Angel Reese got repeated by ESPN and journalists until it became accepted truth, spreading so widely it seemed factual. This situation followed the same trajectory, becoming accepted fact through repetition by the same people who appear to influence WNBA decisions. These social media accounts seem to drive league responses. To put this in perspective, according to Natasha Harris's wife, comparing Natasha Harris and Alyssa Smith constitutes a racial offense. It's completely irrational.
Quote, the recent reports concerning Josh Bartelstein and Sophie Cunningham are entirely false and morally reprehensible. The statement reads, let's absolutely be clear about the origin of these claims.
Real people face genuine consequences from this. Nobody's completely innocent here. Those making personal attacks on any players over basketball games are wrong, and everyone recognizes that. But apparently, sports fans are automatically wrong for being sports fans. Regardless of what anyone says, if it's interpreted negatively, it gets blamed on Fever fans. Someone could literally have athletics branding, but it gets dismissed as Fever fans pretending to support Oakland. Meanwhile, there's an actual person who's had completely false rumors spread about her having an affair with the Phoenix Suns CEO. Total fabrication mentioned in a lawsuit because they're pursuing legal action against the rumor's originator. They're suing the person who created this lie, using that fabrication as evidence of workplace sabotage, yet now it's treated as established fact by journalists simply because certain Twitter accounts want to portray Fever fans negatively.
Put out a snippet of a lawsuit, lied about the lawsuit. The original snippet said basically, oh, she's mentioned in the lawsuit, and it showed that it was a rumor. But these people, and by the way, these are the same people that pushed the lie that Angel Reese had a certain animal chance at her that the WNBA are investigating. So the WNBA will investigate a Twitter rumor. A Twitter rumor started, and by the way, I'm not saying nothing happened in the crowd. I'm saying what was accused on Twitter did not happen. What was accused did not happen. I'm not saying nothing happened because I wasn't there, but I'm saying this very specific thing, the start of the investigation, did not happen. And then those same people...
This constitutes player harassment. They're not just harassing players, they're harassing them to the point where private lives become public speculation regarding what they've said about Sophie Cunningham. You don't have to like her, but basic decency should apply. While some fans from every team behave inappropriately, these aren't fans at all. Just like those using Caitlin Clark's name to spread hatred aren't genuine fans. These are harassers, plain and simple. Anyone disagreeing with this assessment is mistaken. Anyone challenging them gets targeted. We've witnessed them essentially forcing Quigo off the internet through harassment. These are harassers, no exceptions. Instead of confronting these harassers, the WNBA allows them to control league narrative.
On Wednesday, Cunningham issued a separate statement on social media denouncing, quote, untrue and extremely hurtful statements made by someone, quote, I do not know and have never met.
These people derive satisfaction from driving players offline. They enjoy this destruction. It's terrible behavior from harassers seeking to eliminate Sophie Cunningham from social media. Their objective isn't stopping discrimination in women's basketball. Their goal is forcing Caitlin Clark out entirely. That's undeniable reality.
Spread a rumor of a lie. They spread a lie about Sophie Cunningham so wide and far that it becomes fact. Just like, again, we saw on ESPN and journalists, the lie about Fever fans making specific noise at Angel Reese got spread so far and so wide that it became fact. It got spread so far and wide that it became fact.
Man, I've reached my limit with all of this nonsense. Absolutely reached my breaking point here. When false stories get repeated endlessly, they start being treated as truth. We witnessed this exact thing happen during that whole Sophie Cunningham mess. Lies repeated constantly eventually become accepted reality. That's exactly why I need to create these types of videos. All I want is to discuss hoops.
Very interesting. So, let's get to her statement right here. I am deeply saddened by the recent false accusations made against me by Gene Traylor, someone I do not know and have never met. Let me be clear, his statements are untrue and extremely hurtful.
At minimum, it's a WNBA contest I can enjoy without facing accusations of being terrible things. Perhaps, just perhaps, I can watch women's basketball without receiving violent threats from someone. Though I suspect that's wishful thinking now. It seems inevitable that because of current circumstances, you simply cannot enjoy the WNBA without facing some kind of violent threat. Maybe that's my personal experience. Maybe it's just me, or getting called horrible names simply because you support a certain athlete, just because of a basketball player you admire.
Just like this, it became spread so far and so wide that it became fact. By the same people that controlled the WNBA. These Twitter accounts seem to control the WNBA. And to be fair, according to Natasha Howard's wife, comparing Natasha Howard to Alyssa Smith is a racial slur.
Anyway, statement from Chenna Woolm is extremely reckless. By the way, I think Chenna Woolm provides solid basketball analysis. She truly does. Say whatever you want about Chenna Woolm. She offers quality basketball insights. But this statement is reckless. Incredibly reckless coming from her. This is extremely dangerous because we're talking about Chenna Woolm here. Her sibling runs the players' union. This is tremendously dangerous.
Let's take a listen here.
Now, players and coaches of the Chicago Sky have said that they heard things that were out of bounds coming from the fans in Indiana during the game. And that caused the WNBA to launch an investigation.
Angel Reese did not hear anything. She did not admit to hearing anything. Angel Reese did not say she heard anything. You can say what you want about it. Angel Reese said she did not. She was being asked. Every single person has said that was listened to the press conference. They were like, she just kept saying this, and people were trying to ask, what does this mean? They were like, next question. She's already answered that. Next question. The Chicago Sky PR were trying to make sure that Angel Reese did not say she heard nothing.
Either Tyler Marsh is being dishonest, which I can't understand why Tyler Marsh would be dishonest in this situation. I'm prepared to take back my words if it emerges that Tyler Marsh was dishonest, but personally, I can't see any reason why Tyler Marsh would be dishonest. I see no motive for Tyler Marsh to be dishonest. Let's examine this carefully. Chicago Sky athletes and staff claimed they heard inappropriate comments from Indiana spectators during the contest, which prompted the WNBA to begin their inquiry. Angel Reese never heard anything. She never acknowledged hearing anything. Angel Reese never stated she heard anything. You can argue all you want about it. Angel Reese said she heard nothing.
She just kept saying, this is unacceptable, this. And as soon as they were trying to ask what this is, it was like, nope. They would not allow journalists to answer questions. They would not allow journalists answer or ask certain questions. Anytime they thought a journalist was going to answer a question they did not like, it got stopped. And Tyler Marsh, this is what he said.
Something that we heard about, and so again, we're just forthcoming with anything that the league is able to do investigation-wise.
Just a quick follow-up on it, just because you coached in Indiana.
And they were trying to bait Tyler Marsh into saying that he heard that Indiana the state is bad. This journalist literally was speaking about it like it was fact.
She was being questioned, and every individual who listened to that media session noticed she kept repeating certain phrases while people tried asking what those phrases meant. They kept saying, "Next question, she's already responded to that, next question." The Chicago Sky media team was ensuring that Angel Reese wouldn't say she heard nothing. She kept stating this behavior is unacceptable, and whenever they tried asking what this behavior was, it got shut down. They wouldn't permit journalists to answer questions. They wouldn't allow reporters to ask specific questions. Whenever they suspected a reporter might ask a question they disliked, it got blocked.
This is just a random journalist trying to get a scoop. And you know what, we've seen it from Christine Brennan trying to imply that trying to get Dejanay Carrington, or accusing Dejanay Carrington of intentionally poking Caitlin Clark in the eye. And look, whether or not you believe that Caitlin Clark intentionally poked Dejanay Carrington in the eye or not is irrelevant to the situation. Like, as a journalist, you cannot essentially be accusing a player of doing something without like actual proof.
Tyler Marsh stated this, something that we learned about. So again, we're just being transparent with whatever the league can do regarding their inquiry. And a quick follow-up, because you coached in Indiana, they were essentially trying to trick Tyler Marsh into declaring that he heard Indiana, the state, is problematic. This reporter literally spoke about it as established fact. It was embarrassing from whoever this reporter was. I don't know their identity. Don't really care. Don't particularly care. I'm simply sharing my viewpoint. My viewpoint is that it was embarrassing. My opinion was that it was completely embarrassing. It's absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous. But simultaneously, what should we anticipate? What should we anticipate? This is just some random reporter trying to grab a story. Some random reporter attempting to get a scoop. You know, we've witnessed it from Christine Brennan trying to suggest that DJ was attempting to get DJ Carrington, or claiming DJ Carrington deliberately poked Caitlin Clark in the eye.
It doesn't matter what anyone believes. Do I believe it was intentional? I don't think she tried to get her in the eye, but I do think, if you're asking my opinion, I think she tried to hit her in the head. I think it was very hard to intentionally claw the eye, but I do think she went for her head. But at the same time, we've got to be honest here. Chinea Nwumike, from what it seems like, I got to be careful with what I'm saying. From everything we've seen, it seems like Chinea Nwumike just made something up. And as the sister of...
Look, whether you think Caitlin Clark deliberately poked DJ Carrington in the eye or not doesn't matter to this situation. As a reporter, you cannot essentially accuse an athlete of doing something without legitimate evidence. It doesn't matter what anyone thinks. Do I think it was deliberate? I don't believe she attempted to get her in the eye, but I do believe, if you're asking my viewpoint, I believe she attempted to strike her in the head. I don't think she tried to deliberately hit her eye, but I do believe she aimed for her head. But simultaneously, we need to be honest here. Chaino Wum, from what appears evident, I need to be cautious with my words. From everything we've witnessed, it appears Chaino Wum simply fabricated something. And as the sibling of there is a you are employed by ESPN. You are a former top draft pick. Your sibling heads the players' union. You must be cautious. You must be cautious.
Like, you are working for ESPN. You are a former number 1 pick. Your sister's a head of Players Association. You have to be careful. You have to be careful. And by the way, you have either accused a coach of lying to protect the Fever, to protect Indiana fans, which I'm not saying Tyler Marsh didn't do that, but it's highly unlikely. It is highly unlikely. And she has to do better.
By the way, you have either accused a coach of being dishonest to defend the Fever, to defend Indiana supporters, which I'm not claiming Tyler Marsh didn't do that, but it's extremely unlikely. It is extremely unlikely, and she needs to improve. Tyler Marsh stated he learned when everyone else learned. These athletes learned when everyone else learned. The Fever athletes wouldn't have claimed, "We heard nothing." Bree Turner of all people wouldn't have claimed, "We heard nothing." If anything was heard, nothing was heard that day. We want to know how we know that? Because nothing was mentioned in the media sessions following the contest. Something would have been mentioned in the media sessions following the contest, and it wouldn't have taken 18 hours for the WNBA to start their inquiry. Something would have been stated. Let's be realistic. Let's be realistic. WNBA athletes aren't very skilled at staying quiet. Something would have been mentioned in the media session.
No matter who says what, if it's perceived the wrong way, it's a Fever fan. Like it could be somebody who literally has Ace, who their logo is an Aces logo, but then it's it's Fever fans pretend to be Aces fans. It's like it's mad. It's actually it's just mad. And then there's a real person who has had a rumor of the Phoenix Suns CEO having an affair with her.
Again, this sounds like a fabrication. It sounds like a fabrication. It does. It sounds like a fabrication. And I'm so relieved that I don't need to discuss this. I'm so relieved that for the remainder of this day, I don't need to discuss this garbage. But the issue is that I thought, okay, maybe I wouldn't need to discuss it for a while. I thought yesterday, you know what, maybe this will be finished. But no, you've got someone on ESPN, and by the way, there's nothing to gain from this. This got 2,000 views. There's nothing to gain from stating this. There is nothing to gain from stating this. There is nothing to gain except creating the appearance of making up fake allegations.
I am here to compete, play basketball at the highest level, and win for my team and my fans, while inspiring other women that can do or be anything they ever dream of becoming. I hold myself to the highest integrity, and my values are what guide me on and off the court.
Now, athletes and staff of the Chicago Sky have claimed that they heard inappropriate things from the supporters in Indiana. So let's remember this. Let's remember this. They are attempting to portray 18,000 people, that includes many children, many families, as terrible people. And I would have expected better from an actual athlete. I will discuss more, but again, simultaneously, her sibling did state, watch, don't criticize, what was it, and be curious, don't criticize. The players' union doesn't want athletes to face criticism. It's sports. It's sports. Unfortunately, but yeah, it's sports. The fact that, again, Chena's you would have expected better. And what's frustrating about this, Chena's Yuen is actually a skilled basketball analyst. She's actually a skilled basketball analyst. And I was frustrated because I was thinking, and her entire 30-minute segment, it's WNBA plus NBA playoffs. You know, the WNBA opening weekend was amazing. Sonia Citron was excellent. Kiki Uren was excellent. The Lynx have been wonderful. Paige Becker stepped up tremendously in her second contest. All of this content, there's so many positive things to discuss, but you've got a former top overall selection who works for ESPN, who on her personal platform gets 2,000 viewers. So simultaneously her paycheck comes from ESPN. And instead of using her personal platform to discuss the sport, she's instead using it to promote a narrative. And by the way, something might have occurred in the venue. It was not. The inquiry was not reported by athletes and staff from the Chicago Sky, or at least definitely not this particular coach. But anyway, yeah, it's somewhat ridiculous.
I see you folks.